All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Town of Yucca Valley's meeting on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. It is 6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. We just came out of closed session. Legal counsel, any reportable action?
Thank you. The town council met in closed session with respect to the one item on the closed session agenda, and there's no reportable action. That concludes the report.
Very good. We'll start off with our roll call, please.
Council members Dennison.
Here.
Droz.
Here.
Lombardo.
Here.
Schooler.
Here.
And Mayor Abel.
Here. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to join us with our Pledge of Allegiance. Council member Jeff Droz will lead us. Following that, we'll have our invocation. Pastor Bill Wilcox, a personal friend of mine and a longtime resident of Yucca Valley, is here from Living Hope Church. Thank you, Pastor, for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our gracious God and Heavenly Father, we come to you on this 80th anniversary of a day that was then described as one that will live in infamy. We pay tribute to those brave men and women who sacrificed their lives in World War II in defense of this country. And we thank you, merciful Father, for seeing this nation through those dark and difficult days. We thank you also for the freedom we enjoy today because of the sacrifices that were made back then. Part of that freedom is the privilege of self-governance that we enjoy this evening here in Yucca Valley as our elected town council meets to address the business and concerns of this fair city. I pray you grant to these leaders both wisdom and compassion in the decisions they make this evening. Grant energy, a spirit of cooperation, and great morale to the town staff as they work to make this city a better place. I would request your blessing on our first responders, law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical personnel. Thank you for their service and bless them in this vital work they do. I pray for the children of our community and the schools they attend. May they have perseverance and strength as they attend their classes, even in the midst of the many COVID-related interruptions. I pray as well for their safety and protection from those who would seek to do them harm. I ask that you grant courage, strength, and patience to their teachers as they work to prepare the children for the road that lies ahead. On this 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and in light of the example of self-sacrifice we have been given by that previous generation, may we all likewise sacrifice ourselves to bring a better tomorrow for our children and their children. I ask these things in the name of our Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Beautifully done.
Thank you, Pastor. We're going to start off with presentations and introductions and recognitions. We'll start with our State of the Town address. And again, thank you for attending tonight. Let me get my light on here just in case all the lights go out and I have to be able to read this. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us this evening for the 2021 State of the Town Address. You are our friends, neighbors, colleagues, and business owners, and we are grateful for your interest in the state and attending tonight's State of the Town Address. This year marks our 30th anniversary of incorporation, and we have much to celebrate. This was one of the desert's outpost communities in the middle of nowhere not so long ago. Yucca Valley now adores magazines across the globe, including GQ Magazine, Bride Magazine, and many others, highlighting the unique treasure of our Yucca Valley town. And while we have our growing pains like any other newer town, we can take pride in the fact that the town of Yucca Valley has never been stronger. Visitors have discovered Yucca Valley's quaint desert charm that we all know and love, which is greatly benefiting our town businesses. Yucca Valley has hit the map, and we are confident that we can continue to take advantage of the strength as we move forward. For any newcomers tonight, my name is Merle Abel, and it is a pleasure to serve as your mayor for 2021. As I complete my term as mayor and pass the gavel later this evening, I would like to take this opportunity to review some of the highlights from this past year, and what a year it has been. This year, the town celebrates its 30th birthday, and it serves as a reminder of how young we really are. It wasn't that long ago that the town was a small blip on the map on our way to the Colorado River or way getting to the base in 29 Palms. Not so much today. We are now able to celebrate significant improvements in infrastructure, public facilities, street improvements, park additions, increased public safety, and many other benefits. This all comes because of incorporation. Just in the past few years, the town added an animal shelter for our furry friends, a public library for our community, an expansion of Brim Park, adding critical park space, the Tri-Valley Little League facility, adding additional deputies and detectives through our Measure Y, a dog park for pets and their owners to enjoy, and to facilitate the development of 72 units of income-restricted senior housing, and improved and expanded our roadways. The list of changes goes on, but our commitment as a town council to you remains the same. Our priority is to ensure that Yucca Valley is equipped with the building blocks for involved success. We can continue to improve what Yucca Valley has to offer with the active participation of our community, and thank you, all of you, for continuing to be devoted to the development of our town. Happy birthday, Yucca Valley. The pandemic, like everything else in the world, our town continued to feel the impacts of COVID. Our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to each family that felt the effects of this virus, physically, emotionally, and economically. We cannot be prouder of all of our frontline workers who willingly put themselves in harm's way for the safety of their community. Thank you, healthcare workers, firefighters, police officers, retail workers, educators, and so many others. In a similar fashion, the town of Yucca Valley continued to assist our community's health this past year. The town worked with our county partners to provide easy access to testing and vaccines, and that access continues even today. I encourage you to consider the advantage of these services and take advantage of them. Providing vaccinations and testing, it's never been easier. I think I speak for everyone when I say we all look forward to the day when this pandemic is behind us, or at least less disruptive to our day-to-day lives. Hopefully that day will be in the not-too-distant future. Other town project and highlights. The town deserves the infrastructure to support our residents and visitors, which is why we continue to improve ourselves in small but significant ways. Residents are now enjoying safer access to Yucca Trail. With added turn lanes and expanded shoulders and improved turning movements, motorists have a safe and effective alternative to our state highway. Speaking of state highways, Caltrans has started the State Highway 62 Rehabilitation Project. While this project results in some significant traffic impacts on the town from morning commutes and signal timing issues, we are certain that the end result will be a much immense improvement over the existing highway. We appreciate your patience and understanding as this project moves forward. All great things take time to build. Other additional roadways improvements are in various stages of planning and design, including the Onaga Trail Sidewalk Improvement Project, Little League Drive Sidewalk Improvement Projects, utility undergrounding at Brim Park, and continuing the town's slurry seal and street maintenance efforts, all made possible by you and providing us those Measure Y dollars. Did you know that since it started in 2017, Measure Y has provided more than $5 million in town infrastructure improvements? And as we know, much of Measure Y funds come from visitors and the community using our shopping destinations. We are so grateful for the community's support of Measure Y. It is working. The Town Aquatics and Recreation Project. 2021 saw the completion of many important tasks related to the town's new Aquatic and Recreation Center. Required environmental studies were completed, programming was verified, and a terrific project management team was brought on board to ensure the efficient and timely completion of this amazing facility. Design will be completed in next year, with construction starting in 2023. This will be an amazing facility for all of the residents to enjoy. The town is currently seeking additional grant funds for the expansion of Brim Park and the newly acquired Tri-Valley Little League facility, with the goal of creating a recreational hub that will serve the needs of both youth and adults for generations to come. Anchored by the new Prop 68 Recreation and Aquatic Facility, this complex is envisioned to meet the recreational needs of all Yucca Valley citizens in a coordinated and convenient location. Other projects the town have on deck include the consolidation of town offices to a single location in order to better serve the public, and efforts to develop a modernization project for our senior center that will update a facility that has served our community for well over 30 years. Public safety. Public safety is the #1 priority of the town council, and even more concerning these changes that we've seen in 2021. Whether responding to COVID-19 related emergencies or ensuring safety during times of civil unrest, the men and women of our sheriffs and fire departments are committed to upholding our values of public safety each and every day, and we thank them. Our community's ability to be resilient stems from our commitment to public safety. We want to give a big thanks to the citizens of Yucca Valley for their wisdom of passing and supporting Measure Y to benefit public safety and other community needs. This service often comes at great cost to the town, and on May of 2021, we were reminded of just how great that cost can be. We honor the memory of Sergeant Dominic Vaca, who died in the line of duty on Memorial Day 2021. And he was protecting our hometown. Sergeant Vaca was a 17-year veteran of the department and served many of those years right here in the Morongo Basin Station. We are indebted to his family and incredibly grateful for his sacrifice. We will never forget. Sergeant Vaca, may you rest in peace in the arms of your loving father. 2022 is a stronger tomorrow. As we turn the page and call it a wrap of 2021, as your town council, we encourage you to have a sense of civic pride in knowing that each of you play an important role in keeping our Yucca Valley strong. The good news keeps coming, which gives us great optimism for 2022 and beyond. From the continued interest in Yucca Valley and the Morongo Basin from folks looking for a getaway, to the strength of our local economy and the dedication of our businesses, large and small, we rely on these pillars of strength to build upon as we plan our future together. In closing, on behalf of the Town Council, I want to thank our entire staff for such continued hard work in executing our policy and those directions that we give them. What a benefit to have such a dedicated workforce serving our businesses, residents, and visitors day in and day out. You have implemented the council's policies and procedures to ensure that the town is financially stable and well-positioned to continue to provide important services to our town. Thank you, staff, for your service. And finally, thank you, my friends and neighbors and fellow citizens of Yucca Valley. It has truly been a privilege serving as mayor in 2021. When we work together as a community, we have no limits on what we can accomplish. And on behalf of the entire Town Council, I wish you all the best holiday season and a happy and a successful 2022. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you, staff and the audiovisual department, for putting together such a great presentation. Really, really appreciate it. And it's quite an honor to be able to present that to our community tonight. And it's always fun, isn't it, to go back and see all the things that were accomplished and what we're looking forward to. And Yucca Valley truly does have a bright future. All right. One of our favorite things to do is to introduce or have the introductions of our 2021-22 Youth Commissioners, and we will turn that over to staff for that presentation. Sue?
Thank you, Mayor Abel. That was hard to follow, but I am going to be talking about the Youth Commission, which is a joy of mine for sure. As you know, the Town Council appoints the applicants for the Youth Commission annually at the beginning of the term. So the recommendation tonight in your consent agenda is to appoint the applicants recommended by the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Commission for the 21-22 Youth Commission and authorize the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Commission to review future applicants and make subsequent appointments on behalf of the council. Of course, the Youth Commission established in 1995, and it is for young people in grades 7 through 12. The council established the Youth Commission to serve as an advisory group and to provide recommendations on youth-related issues. As the council appointed overseers of the Youth Commission, the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Commission reviews the applications and makes recommendation for appointment. And they also receive regular Youth Commission reports during the term. On November 9th, the PRCC voted to recommend appointment of all of these 20 applicants and directed staff to forward the recommendation to the Town Council. So as I read the names of the individuals that are recommended for appointment, I'd like them to come up to the podium here and just line up as I read their names and invite them to speak if they would like. So the 2021-22 Youth Commission is Larissa Abbott, Guinevere Dahlberg, Elizabeth Dahlberg, Christopher Davis, Savannah Canto, Ashley Lowe, Stephanie Davis, Kimberly Balch, Miriam Hussein, Emma Wilkinson, Carlina Rhodes, Autumn Radcliffe, Santino Rosales, Acacia Smith, Richard Abbott, Ruben Tehran, Raleigh Shepard, Kylie Rivera Burton, Gabriella Trabitz, and Wesley McDavis. And members of the Youth Commission, if you would like to, I know some of you want to speak and some of you do not, but you're welcome to come to the podium if you'd like to address the council. Start with the front of the line. Maybe our chair from last year. Elizabeth Dahlberg, our chair from last year. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Hi. Well, I'm Elizabeth. This year is my third term, will be my third term as a youth commissioner, and my final year. I'm a 12th grader this year. But I just wanted to thank you for supporting this program, especially having it over COVID and continuing it now. Having a kind of sense of a normalcy during school is very helpful. I really enjoy being involved in my community. Honestly, I've gotten a lot of benefits from being in the Youth Commission, aside from helping my community. It's helped give me some confidence and to be more involved in my community and my peers. So thank you for having this program. Thank you for allowing me to be on it. I'm very excited for this year. I think we have a lot of great new commissioners.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
My name is Kimberly Balch, and I am so grateful to be back here. This group is so much fun, and we also help the community. And I think it's a great opportunity, and I want to thank you all again for allowing me to come back here and for keeping this program running. And it gives a great opportunity to a lot of younger kids to have more of volunteer work in our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Larissa Abbott. I was the vice chair last year, and I'm a senior at Yucca Valley High School, meaning this is my third year here, and sadly my last one, but I'm very excited to see what we do this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Lowe, and I'm an 11th grader at Yucca Valley High School, and this is my second year doing Youth Commission. And so far, I love seeing the new community service that we do to help our community out and the events that we plan and go to and volunteer. And yeah, so I'm looking forward. Thank you so much for appointing me.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Savannah Canto, and I'm a junior at Yucca Valley High School. This is my third year on Youth Commission, and I love it. I think it's a great way to bring teens together and the community, and I can't wait to see all the new fun and exciting things we do this year.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Acacia Smith. I'm an 8th grader at La Quintana, and this is my first year in the Youth Commission. And all of the volunteer work that we've done so far, it's been so fun and benefiting, and I'm very excited to see what we will do and to gain some new leadership skills. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Autumn Radcliffe. I'm a 10th grader at Yucca High. This is my third year on the commission, and I would like to thank all of you for allowing this program to keep running, even through the times where COVID restrictions were so high, because it really gave all of us an opportunity to still help even when we thought we couldn't. And I'm very thankful that you guys had appointed me again this year. It's been so fun ever since I've been on, and I can't wait to see what we do this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if there's not anyone else, is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay, yes, come on up. We'd love hearing from you.
Hi, my name's Santino Rosales, and I am a 9th grader at Yucca Valley High School, and I just wanted to thank you all for this opportunity to be able to be here and help our community.
You're welcome. All right. Can I get a show of hands of those that are middle schoolers that are on the Youth Commission? Wonderful. High schoolers, public high school? Any private or independent study or homeschooling students? Yeah, good. All right, wonderful. So we really, really want to thank you for volunteering for this amazing opportunity. And it always is great when we hear 2, 3 years. A young person wants to come back and serve another year or 2 or 3 years, tells me that this is a really great program and an opportunity. And we really appreciate your service to the community. And many of you could be up here or serving in another leadership role in our community, and we'd love to see you stay in Yucca Valley, develop Yucca Valley, be part of our leaders of the future. And we're grateful that you took this opportunity to be here tonight and to volunteer. Sue, if you have a few other things, go ahead, but I'm going to ask them to come on up here in just a moment so we can get family to come on up and take pictures. And I invite the council members to join them for a photo op. Politicians love to have their pictures taken, by the way. And but we want parents not to be shy, to be able to come up and get some pictures, okay? Sue, anything else?
I was just about to invite you to have a photo op with the kids, and so if they would like to come in.
Come on inside, watch the cord as you
Yeah,
come
we'll go
across.
that way.
And council members, you can join me up with the commissioners if you'd like.
As you get assembled, I did want to point out that this group has really hit the ground running. They helped us host the tree lighting ceremony, which saw hundreds of people in attendance, and just this last Saturday, they handed out 2,000 cookies this last Saturday. They handed out for the snow play day. Probably start another row if you want.
Yeah, another row maybe?
Yeah, one more row, maybe?
Just stand, we'll have you stand in between, so somebody in front. Just right in front. You can't see the camera, they can't see you, so be sure. All right, everybody take 3 steps forward so we get closer to the parents. Go a step forward. Hurry, I'm holding in my stomach. And thank you, parents and guardians, for trusting your children. Enjoy it.
Good thing for my kids.
And people ask why I like being on the town council. That's awesome. All right, well, we'll continue with our recognitions. This is our outgoing planning commissioner, Margie Trandom. Are you joining us online tonight? We'll take a moment.
Yeah, it'll take a minute. We have quite a few people online tonight, so we're going to try and track her down.
And Margie, you can unmute your microphone on your end when they allow you to. Do we have any other planning commissioners here tonight in the audience? Thank you so much for being here tonight, planning commissioners, and seeing Margie out as our planning commissioner. I know she's done a great job. She was wonderful to work with. If you have a few words you'd like to say, planning commissioners, please come up and I'll give you that opportunity. As soon as we have Margie live.
She was on, but she's not on right now. I don't know where she went.
What would you like me to do, staff?
I would, if you want to have any of your other comments from planning commissioners, that'd be great to go ahead and do that now. We're going to record the meeting.
Okay.
And we'll be able to provide that. It may be something that's out of our control, so.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with our recognition for Margie, and if she comes on, please let me know. This evening, it's a privilege to recognize Ms. Margie Trandom, who has dedicated herself and given a lot of significant time and energy to become a member of our Yucca Valley Planning Commissioner. We're privileged to have her joining us. And Margie, if you're watching this, thank you again for being our Planning Commissioner. You know, one of the biggest jobs, I think, or one of the biggest responsibilities as a council member, I believe, is appointing commissioners. It's a very important part of our job. And Margie is another home run for me. I've had a wonderful planning commissioner before, and Margie filled into those shoes and did a great job. By way of a background, the Town Planning Commission was established by the Town Council as an advisory board for the purpose of executing all those functions, all those powers and duties as a planning commission, and provide guidance and helping us with our state planning and zoning laws. Margie served the town as a planning commissioner upon being nominated by me and appointed by the Town Council in 2016. During that time, Margie was a stable voice on the commission, dealing with many important issues, including commercial developments of O'Reilly Auto Parts and the upcoming Jersey Mike's, Domino's, and Habit Burger, various technical code and regulation updates, and most recently, the town's upcoming change in the short-term vacation rental ordinance, highlighted by our last 6-hour planning commission meeting as part of that hearing. And I wanted to thank the commissioners for navigating such a long meeting with so many people wanting to give their input. James Henderson headed up that particular meeting and did a fantastic job navigating that many people wanting to comment. And I think James did a great job, and I appreciate those planning commissioners sitting through that meeting. It was one of the longest ones we've had in the history of town councils and planning commissioners. So tonight, Ms. Trandom concludes her service as a commissioner. It's our pleasure to recognize Margie and express our gratitude for her services. Margie, we're going to give you this recognition plaque to you, but let me read this for the record. Presented to Margie Trandom in recognition for her exceptional service to the town of Yucca Valley, with sincere appreciation for the dedication, commitment, and professionalism as a planning commissioner for the residents of Yucca Valley. Thank you for your contribution to our community, and it is dated the 7th day of December 2021. Can we thank Margie for her hard work?
Mayor, Ms. Trandom was unable to connect, had some technical difficulties, but did want to convey to the council her appreciation for being able to serve and her apologies for not being able to continue, but truly enjoyed her time, and it was a privilege to serve.
And she did a fantastic job. Thank you. Any other commissioners have anything to say? All right.
Mayor, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
No.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Commissioner Stoker.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate kind of what you said. You know, as a stable voice, it's always good to have someone who is representing just the whole of the community. You know, I may be more outspoken, I would say, than Margie, but having someone there that is understated in the way she conducts business goes a long way. And I mentioned this at her last meeting, and it was kind of the thing that really set off knowing her. In my first meeting as a commissioner, she was the senior member on our board, and it was up to her to be able to run the meetings if she had wanted to be in charge. And the first thing that she said is, I'm okay with anyone else taking the role of, you know, of head of the commission and vice chair. I don't want any part of that. I'm fine sitting over here on the end, leave me be, and I'll be okay. And I thought that was really great, because it takes a lot to want to stand up and be that person to run a meeting, but it also takes a lot to be the person that knows that they have a place and they work that position that they have well. So it's always good to have someone like her representing all of us realistically. And we, you know, we lost a good person, and we look forward to your next appointment being someone equally, you know, ready to fill that role. So thank you, Margie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. Yes, I want to also give my kudos to Margie. She was a real stable voice on the commission. When James Henderson and I were appointed at the same time, she kind of mentored us and helped us come along. So I'm hoping very much that, I know it's going to be tough to fill her shoes, so I'm counting on you, Mayor able to do that. So, but to Margie, thank you very, very much for helping us along in the commission. It was really great to serve with you, and I'm sorry to see you go.
Thank you, Chair.
All right.
I just want to say I've known Margie for a long time, and I served on the planning commission with her for a couple months before I was elected to town council. And she's a straight shooter. She was a great person for the position. And I also want to mention, I don't think it was mentioned, but the planning commission now has a lot of more work with the Joshua Tree, the change in the Joshua Tree ordinance. I mean, they review every project with the Joshua Tree. So their meetings go quite long sometimes. So they've handled that really well. And I just want to thank Margie. I think she did an awesome job.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move this meeting along, and thank you for all the wonderful comments, and thank you again, Margie. I need a approval for the meeting's agenda tonight. Do I have that approval, please?
Mayor, I'd like to approve the agenda as provided.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Council members Dennison.
Yes.
Droz.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Abel.
Yes. I'm not going to have staff read the consent agenda items. They're posted there, but all items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters or formal documents covering previous town council instructions. Items are enacted by one motion and seconded without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Requests for public comments on consent agenda calendar items should be filed with the town clerk. Is there any council member wanting to pull an item?
No.
Madam Clerk, do we have anyone asking to speak on the consent agenda? Anyone online or in the audience would like to speak on the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing none, I'm looking for a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to approve the consent agenda items 4 through 17 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Council members Dennison.
Yes.
Droz. Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Abel.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to item number 18. The selection of mayor and mayor pro tem for 2021. Before we go into that, you may have heard of presidential pardons. When the outgoing president grants the last-minute pardons, well, I've been doing a lot of reading, and Yucca Valley has also that same provision. I bet you didn't know that, Shane Stuckel. So, as one of my last duties, I will be pardoning the following individuals. My first pardon is for our town manager, Curtis Yakimo, for wearing a tie and a sport coat even on the summer meetings when the town council casually dresses, making us all look like we shop at the Kmart basement department. You are pardoned. Shane Stuckel, you've been found guilty of not being a coffee drinker and mainly drinking tea. It has been rumored that when no one is around, your pinky sticks out as if you're part of royalty. Now, I don't want to say that Shane's been here for a long time, but ever since that Boston Tea Party incident went down, he's been stockpiling tea for his own personal supply. Sir, you are pardoned as not being a coffee drinker. Councilmember Droz, your transgressions are numerous and frequent. I'm not going to pardon you because you will just get in trouble before the week is over. Councilmember Lombardo, you were so close to getting the Landlord of the Year award except for that one little issue. You are pardoned, and I am sure you will get that award in the if not this year or not next year, very soon, sir.
Thank you.
Rick Dennison, I don't believe you need to be pardoned. You're absolutely perfect in most every way. Your hair is impeccable. And I also found out that not all arson cases are solved. So I figured it'd probably be safer for me not to go there and tease you about anything. So you're excused. Mayor Pro Tem Jim Schooler, You have known me the longest of anyone here on the council, and my memory is not so good, so I'm sure you have a lot of dirt on me. So I am going to grant you a pardon. You can use it whenever you wish. I'd also, as a outgoing mayor, I also am allowed to give comments and also accommodations. All right? Deborah Sterling, you, my dear, have the intelligence of Condoleezza Rice, the grit of Margaret Thatcher, and you're as nice as Mary Poppins. You really need to knock it off. David Champagne is not here tonight, but I hope he watches this. David, you are receiving a commendation for having the cleanest, most sanitized lectern and microphone in all of city government.
Hear, hear.
A job well done. Robert Adams. Robert, I don't know how badly you screwed up at work for them to punish you by having to come to all these town council meetings. You, my friend, are now pardoned. You are free to come to any of council meetings that you would like anytime those Alaskan wilderness shows aren't on rerun or The Bachelorette is not on. In public comments, when you're the only one in the audience, I've always been tempted to say, does anyone have a public comment? Or maybe you just had a bad day at work and would like to vent. You please come up and this is your time. Bob. Bob has been doing what? How many years of this recording have you been doing? 30 years. His attendance is impeccable. You have never, ever fallen off of that lectern and that perch as far as I know. Also, when I ask you to always make sure you film my good side, you inform me I don't have one. You, sir, however, are granted a sick day. So you can take a day off, okay, Bob? You don't have to be here for every meeting. It's without pay, but you get a sick day, all right? And last, I'm going to pardon myself. And yes, Shane, I can pardon myself. And I'm pardoning myself because I thought I could synchronize the lights on the highway out here, and I went out there one night and I tried to get all the lights to synchronize, and that's why they're all screwed up. So I'm granting myself a pardon. That's it. Thank you.
That was outstanding. Stand-up comment.
Item number 18.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. This is now the exciting portion of our meeting where the council will select its next mayor. So I'd like to open nominations for a council member to serve as the town's mayor for 2022.
Mayor, I would like to, since Mayor Pro Tem has the most dirt on you than anyone that we know of right now, I would like to nominate Mayor Pro Tem Schooler as mayor.
I'll second.
Any other nominations? We'll close the nominations. So roll call, council members Dennison,
Yes.
Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
Well, thank you. And I guess we'll start with nominations for Mayor Pro Tem for
Yes.
2022. And I would like to make the nomination of Councilmember Dennison for that.
And I would like to second.
We have a nomination and a second. Is there any other nominations? Nominations are closed. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes.
Thank you.
With that, I would like to ask former Mayor Merle Abel to join me at the lectern. This has to be the world's hardest act to follow. But, well, by my count, in the years since incorporation, there have been 24 or 25 individuals in our community that have been able to serve as mayor, and I am honored to join their ranks this evening. My first official action is to commend and thank Mayor Merle Abel for his service and his leadership over the past year. As you know, the mayor is the ceremonial head of state and attends and participates and represents the town in ribbon cuttings and events and organizational meetings throughout the community all year long. They gave me notes because they didn't think I'd get this right. So, but it was not uncommon to see Mayor Abel out at community events as in the following Grubstake Days with his Beat the Mayor 5K challenge, many of our summer concerts in the park, opening of the Yucca Trail Improvement Project, various chamber and charity events, many town events, including his enthusiastic tag teaming with Santa Claus at last week's tree lighting, and of course, stepping up wherever needed during this incredibly unpredictable year. So, it is my pleasure to present the mayor with a small token of our appreciation for his service and leadership during 2021. This plaque reads, Mayor Merle R. Abel, thank you for your service, dedication, and leadership as Yucca Valley's Mayor 2021, presented December 7th, 2021, Yucca Valley Town Council.
Thank you, Jim.
And as the council knows, don't go away,
Party gifts.
lovely parting gift. We want to present you with your new name plaque, Merle R. Abel, chopped liver. You are now chopped liver.
I'm now officially just chopped liver. Thank you, staff. Thank you. I was a somebody. We're going to take a recess.
At this point, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. Help yourself to the refreshments here while the staff reorganizes the dais. Okay, we're ready to reconvene the meeting. At this point, we have a public hearing, item number 19. Can we have a staff report, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The recommended action this evening is that the Town Council retains the current public facility development impact fee structure and directs staff to include in the 21-22 mid-year budget review an update to the public facility development impact fee study. In 2005, the Town Council established public facility development impact fees for the first time. These fees are charged on new development projects and different categories of new development projects to pay for 5 different categories of infrastructure. These categories of infrastructure include general facilities. For example, a general facility can be a senior center or an animal shelter, park facilities, trails, storm drains, and street and traffic. Those are the 5 categories upon which the initial fee study established those structures. Over the years, those fees have been adjusted from the early days all the way up through 2011, and the fees have remained in place since 2011, and I'll just run through what those fees are. Number 1, for a single family within a new subdivision, $9,081 per unit. Single family infill, so an infill is a residential lot which existed prior to October of 2005. That fee is $2,568 per unit. Multifamily, set at $3,600 per unit. And the council has established an incentive program for commercial, general office, and industrial projects. So the council's reduced the fees for small projects as an incentive. So the first 3,000 square feet are at $1 per square foot, 3,001 to 5,000 square feet at $2 a unit, 5,001 to 10,000 square feet at $4 a unit, and 10,001 square feet or more at the maximum fee of $7.85 per square foot. Again, those create an incentive for those smaller projects and to help them go through the development and construction process. Current balances, I'm just going to touch on two more sets of numbers, balance and expenditures. Current balance in general facilities is $80,354. Parks, $479,522. Streets and traffic, $242,609. Drainage, $971,331, and trails, $58,838. In 2021, almost $1 million of these DIF fees were expended on infrastructure projects. That total was $961,172. Again, the recommended action is that the council retains the current fee structure. The fee study has not been updated since its original drafting in 2005. It's probably past due, as some would define it. And that second part of the recommendation is that staff include the funding in the 21-22 mid-year budget review for an update to that development impact fee study. That concludes the staff presentation, and we would be happy to answer questions following the public hearing.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this item? Madam Clerk, do you have anybody?
No, I do not.
Anybody wish to speak? Anybody online wish to speak on this item? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back for council comment. Any council members wish to comment on this?
I think that we should approve it or as recommended. That's why I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Which is
That's me.
Department report, the California Drought Water Parks Climate, Coastal Protection, and Outdoor Access for All Act of 2018 per capita grant program, grant application, and authorizing resolution. Staff report, please.
Yes, Mayor Schooler and council members. This item is yet another facet of Prop 68, and the recommendation tonight is that the Town Council adopt the resolution approving the filing of a project application for the California Drought Water Parks Climate, Coastal Protection, and Outdoor Access for All Act of 2018 per capita grant program, and delegates the authority to the town manager or designee to conduct all negotiations, sign and submit all documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, amendments, and payment requests, which may be necessary for the completion of the grant scope and other administrative tasks included in the resolution. So as I mentioned, this is another element. I guess takes a while to spend $4 billion. So there's a lot of different programs involved in Prop 68. What's great about this one is it's non-competitive, and we like those kind. So it outlines there the pots of money that are available. There's the general per capita program at $185 million, and those funds are available for local park rehabilitation, creation, and improvement. And then there's also the urban county per capita program at a little over $13 million, and those are additional funds that are available to cities that fall into certain parameters. So under these programs, our allocations for the town of Yucca Valley and the schedule provided by the state was included in the packet. Under the general per capita program, Yucca Valley is allocated $177,952. And under the urban county per capita program, Yucca Valley is allocated $13,345. And that's a total allocation of $191,000 $1,297. So the town is eligible to apply for these per capita grant funds. The submission deadline is the end of the year. So we have engaged a professional grant consultant to assist us in the preparation of the applications. But the application does require an identified project in order to be filed to obtain funding. So the staff recommendation is to, we have identified the skate park element of the community and skate park renovation project to be identified as the grant project for this application. As you know, the updated master plan states that the public input and review of recreation facilities revealed the need for a replacement of the outdated skate park and rated the upgrade or rebuild of the skate park as a priority of medium to high status. And I think that we all know that we've done public outreach since 2017 when we started the Parks Master Plan update, and the skate park has been a priority from that moment forward. We've had a lot of interest in renovating it, and that continues, so this could be an opportunity to pursue that. So we looked at the Community and Skate Park Renovation Project, which is the project that we submitted for competitive consideration under Prop 68. The outcome of that is unknown at this point, but we can take this segment, just the skate park only, and apply for these per capita grant to get that element of the plan underway. And OGAL's, the state parks grant department has told us that should we actually be successful in obtaining the Prop 68 competitive grant, that we would be able to reallocate these funds to a different qualified project. So even though, you know, it may seem like it might be difficult to have two applications going for the same project, they have assured us that there's no conflict in that regard. So the skate park element only of that project comes in at about $750,000. So it shows you here the grant allocation would reduce that. So it's about $750,000. It would reduce that by the allocated amount, which is $191 and change. So that would leave an unfunded liability of a little over $500,000. So the $559,400 that the town would be required to commit from other sources. So that could be from town reserves, that could be from Quimby fees, any Measure Y perhaps, or a combination of those. In addition, we do want to point out that the design and construction costs are subject to change. The exact cost to complete the project is really unknown specifically, and the additional funding required could range from $500,000 to $750,000 depending on the final design. If the grant is awarded, staff would return to council with a project budget recommendation. So this kind of shows you that the breakdown of the cost estimate for the competitive application that we submitted, and that shows you the per item project cost for each of the elements in that application. So we've indicated there that for this particular per capita application, we would use only the renovation of the skate park itself as the project for this application. And here are some of the renderings. This is not a final design, but this is a conceptual design that was driven by the workshops that we did do for the Parks Master Plan and for the Prop 68 competitive grant application. And so these were the renderings that came out of that effort that we submitted. So it shows the replacement of the existing skate park, which was built in the 90s. And it shows updated features and flow that are more modern in the way that skate parks are used today. So in order to make this application, we need to adopt the resolution, which will allow the town of Yucca Valley to prepare a per capita program grant application for the California Drought Water Parks Climate Coastal Protection and Outdoor Access for All Act of 2018 for these per capita grant program to be submitted by the end of the year. And that concludes the staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anybody, any member of the public that would like to comment on this item? Anybody online wanting to comment on this item? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Any council members have any comments on this item?
Yeah, Sue, if we do go forward with this, I believe we should apply for it. Can we get the Youth Commission really involved in the planning? Bring it back to the students and to the young people in the community, what they would like to see as far as features are concerned. Be nice to have the Youth Commission's input and for them to maybe survey students. Also, I like the idea of a skate park, staying in a park that's accessible from as many neighborhoods as possible for kids. So, you know, again, if this is the best location here at the community center, let's keep it there. If there's a better alternative location, then, you know, I'm open to hearing other suggestions. But again, I'd really like the youth's input on that if we're going to build it, and especially spend that kind of money, something they're going to enjoy and use.
Definitely.
Any other council members? I'd just like to say that skate parks have come a long way since we built ours here. When we built ours back in, I think it was 1996 or 7.
Oh, yes.
I remember it was the only skate park within about 100 miles. There really weren't any skate parks. It was a new technology. We had to go up to Northern California to find out what skate parks were all about. So the design is primitive by today's standards. They've come a long way, and I think this is an exciting project to look forward to. So with that, if there's no other comment, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we adopt the resolution.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Councilmember Droz, second. Motion, Councilmember Lombardo, Councilmember Droz, second. Okay.
Yes.
Councilmember Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item number 21, I believe, do we have two members of the council that have to recuse themselves on this? Am I correct on that? Yes.
Yes. So I recused myself, so I will be leaving the room.
I'll be remaining in the room, but I'm recusing myself.
Okay, this item has to do with the short-term vacation rental permit moratorium, considering of holding a public hearing to extend the existing moratorium. Can we have a staff report, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The recommendation of this evening is that the Town Council discuss and provide direction to staff on whether to hold a public hearing at a future council meeting regarding urgency ordinance number 295 to extend the 45-day moratorium on the issuance of new permits for short-term vacation rentals. As a little bit of background, the council enacted a 45-day moratorium on the issuance of short-term vacation rental permits under Chapter 9.54 of our municipal code on November 2nd, 2021. That 45-day moratorium expires after December 17th, 2021, unless extended. Under state law, the second step of extending a moratorium requires the town council to hold a public hearing to consider public testimony prior to extending the moratorium. State law then establishes the second step of that process with a required 10-month and 15-day time period. And while the state law prescribes these timelines, the town council directed staff and the planning commission to complete the regulation review process within the first quarter of 2022 or by April 1st of 2022. If the completion of the review process occurs prior to this prescribed timeline, the town council may take action to repeal the moratorium ordinance. And we lost our screen. Thank you. Following previous town council direction, town staff will schedule a town council policy discussion in early 2022 addressing transient occupancy tax rate consideration and ballot measure for the fall of 2022. That was another part of the council's direction on this overall process. If the town council were to consider not extending the moratorium, the moratorium would expire after the 17th. The town would go back to accepting short-term vacation rental applications. We would be accepting approximately 6 to 8 applications per week, and that was the average number received between May and the time that the town council enacted the moratorium. And based upon the number of unprocessed existing applications, any application received after December 21st would not be approved prior to approximately mid-February or early March. In this process, staff would also eliminate the pre-notice process within the existing regulations, as that pre-notice process creates a false perception that opposition to the issuance of a permit could have an influence on the decision, when in reality, that is not possible under the code. The code does not allow for the permit to be denied unless there is factual information, and staff obtains those facts through running the reports through the sheriff's department. Town staff would not be issuing approvals for any individuals currently advertising and operating without a permit, and therefore in violation of the regulations that you have had in place for approximately 4 years. There would be a 6-month period for which those operations will need to document compliance with the town regulations prior to a permit being issued. Staff would aggressively and as feasibly as based upon resources address non-permitted operations through all available tools. That may include resources, outside resources beyond our current use of host compliance and any other tool that would be available to us. Based upon the town council holding first reading of the Planning Commission recommendation, and the Planning Commission in their 6-hour meeting did forward a recommendation to the town council that's currently scheduled for you at your meeting of January 18th, 2022. Second reading would be on February 1st with an effective date of March 3rd. Again, those would be the options if the council elects not to extend the moratorium on the issuance of permits. Again, the staff recommendation this evening is that the council discuss and provide direction to staff on whether to hold a public hearing at a future council meeting regarding urgency ordinance number 295 to extend the 45-day moratorium on the issuance of new permits for short-term vacation rentals. That concludes the staff presentation, and we would be happy to answer questions following public comment.
Thank you. I think before we do public comment, we will do public comment, a period of that, but before we do that, I would like to get preliminary input from my fellow council members, if you have any comments at this point, ahead of Rick.
Well, I've been following it quite a bit, just like the public has been, and following the Planning Commission meetings too. I've had a lot of outreach from the public, and in emails, in phone calls, and texts. I like the direction that the staff has already assembled, and some of the controls that we're putting into place. This has been a long road to get here, but currently I'm looking at, I'd like to direct staff to decline the scheduling of a public hearing and to continue with some of the controls that we have in place.
Okay, thank you. I just asked for this input ahead of the public comment because as my understanding is, we would need unanimous support for extending the moratorium. Is that correct?
That is correct. The moratorium requires a 4/5 vote of the town council, and as you will recall, the council did seat a 4th member for the process of enacting the first 45 days. A fourth member would have to be reseated again for the extension of that moratorium, and it would require a unanimous vote of those 4 members.
Okay, thank you. Well, personally, I have heard from so many people, and actually apologize for not being able to get back to everybody as emails and phone calls have come in, but have heard from so many people, and we go back to our original purpose here, which was to take a pause and evaluate what we can do to solve the problems of bad actors and so forth. So I'm satisfied with the movement toward more enforcement, and I think we've done a good job on digesting the input that we got. I thank you to the Planning Commission for all of the input we got, all the people that showed up. But with that, I'll stop and we'll go to the public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have people lined up to comment?
We do, Mayor. Thank you. So first to speak is Monica Zimmerich, followed by Madeline Lavoie.
A reminder that you do have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and town of residence before you speak.
Hello, my name is Monica Zimmerich. I'm 2020 and 2021 Joshua Tree Gateway Association of Realtors. I'm owner-broker of Building Joshua Tree Real Estate, and I'm partner in ZM Design Group and a 21-year resident of Yucca Valley. I support responsible, well-crafted regulations for short-term rentals that serve to create stronger accountability and oversight. However, there needs to be thoughtful consideration of the new regulations and how they will affect local homeowners, residents, and property rights of owners and investors alike. Our area has experienced an unprecedented influx of buyers in the past few years. Does that mean that sometimes driving to Vaughn's or Home Depot is more frustrating? Of course, everyone agrees. Does the noise ordinance get violated on occasion? Yes, of course. You know, I still haven't had my question answered, and I'm sure that the number is known. How many of the complaints are stemming from unpermitted STDRs? How many come from homes rented long-term or are owner-occupied? My neighbor blasts his music almost 24/7. He is not a short-term renter. He's actually a homeowner. By removing the ability to apply for STR permits and choosing to extend the moratorium, it will only encourage the operation of more unpermitted ones. It has placed an extreme burden on many new property owners who are relying on future income on their STVR to make payments. This moratorium has also precipitated many lost sales transactions. It puts sellers in the predicament of not only losing the sale, but also being unable to get a new buyer, and this leads to forced price reductions, which could have been avoided. Also, the moratorium has created a stigma for the Yucca Valley name. Numerous clients have chosen not to buy in Yucca Valley altogether, regardless of whether it's in the unincorporated or incorporated areas. The moratorium has created a fear of the unknown. I have spoken to many residents, STVR homeowners, and buyers who were completely caught blindsided by this. The question arises, what next? Could they arbitrarily make this ridiculous 300-foot rule so that a homeowner is stuck with a home now worth $300,000, but their next-door neighbor's home sold for $500 because it was a short-term rental? This unknown creates fear, which is deadly for an economy. My clients look at me for advice and assurance, both of which I have been muddled and taken from me. I cannot recommend Yucca Valley as a solid investment right now in good conscience. And what about the builders, the ones who are creating new masterpieces in our towns, who have literally put hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the line, including in unimproved lots for future development? We must ask ourselves what the goal is here with this moratorium and some of these new pending regulations, because we are a very dangerous path right now. It could be economically disastrous. I strongly encourage the town not to extend the moratorium and to put in place a collaborative committee including real estate brokers, property managers, disenfranchised homeowners, and concerned citizens. There needs to be the balance and equity in these new regulations that stand to dictate Yucca Valley's economic future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madeline Lavoie, followed by Ryan Eldred.
Good evening to all of you. I don't have a lot to say. I do not want to see the moratorium extended, much the same as many of my clients and friends. Honestly, have to say that there are a few very loud complainers, and I understand them because I have my own complaints about noise and light pollution. They come from various different places. But most of the people that I know that run short-term rentals are mindful of it, and they are permitted. And the density rule is the biggest issue that I have. I don't believe a linear footage should be in contention for density. Percentage, 8 to 10%, seems reasonable to me. I don't want to see every home in our town taken over by short-term rentals, like many of you. I have lived here a very long time and raised my children here. I am a real estate broker. Don't shoot me. But I feel we don't have enough multifamily. I'm making a stance on that because you do allow duplexes in the short-term rental category. I'd like to see that changed. I'd like to see those not allowed to be in the short-term rentals since we do not have enough multifamily zoning in our area. The non-permitted people need to be fined as much as possible. The new builds that are happening right now, many of which are being built for the purpose of short-term rental. They're literally being built for that purpose, are not being considered as something different. And I do believe that that's something different, as they are not building for a homeowner to come in and buy. They're actually building for the purpose of short-term rental. Many of my clients are caught in the middle of this process. They have been blindsided. They've got no warning. They'd like to be able to submit their permits and do the things that are required of them by the law and do things in the proper way. Many of them have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. One just purchased a home for $1,250,000, and it's on acreage. It's not going to bother anybody, but they're being stopped from being able to get a permit. And that's just one example of many. I know of about 38 people right now kind of caught in the crossfire. So I hope that you do consider these things. And have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Ryan Eldred, followed by, sorry, I can't read the name, Yep.
Hello, I'm Ryan Eldred, longtime resident of Yucca Valley. I've watched this town change a lot for the better because of the tourism and the STRs in our town. It's a place I'm proud to raise my kids now. And I think it's, not to echo too much of what Monica said, but I do think it's a dangerous game and a threat to our local economy to further extend the moratorium and specifically add the linear distance rule. Namely because if an investor or a local or anyone is looking to buy a house here for the purpose of short-term renting it, they are typically going to pay a higher price because of that. They have no guarantee that they're going to be able to rent that even if they do their research and they see that it's 300 feet away from another house. Because what if one of the neighbors decides to retire, turn it into an Airbnb? What if somebody else closes before them? So it's going to scare away investment in our town. It's going to scare away the improvement of our town. It's going to scare away a lot of the beautiful things we're seeing happen around here. And I don't want to see my own property value of my house go down or collapse potentially because of that. I do definitely think we need to do better enforcement. I don't think we were really enforcing the current ordinance enough at all. And I think that with the revenue that's being brought in from the taxes on these STRs, we could hire a couple of full-time enforcers that are good at that, at shutting these down, and maybe even have an offshore call center that's cheap so locals can be heard when there's a complaint and they could be put into a queue. And these enforcers could help to identify these bad actors or just bring people to compliance. The town can get more involved in helping provide signage and notices regarding parties and noise, the things that seem to be the biggest nuisance, which I don't like either. I hear them around my house too. But I don't want to see our town suffer. It's got a long way to go and it could be so much better even than it is right now. And I just don't want to see the growth to stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Anita will be following.
Hi, good evening. First and foremost, my name is Jay Ovir Alvarez. I'm a local real estate agent, artist, and a volunteer here on the town. Congratulations, Mayor, for inaugurating yourself today and everybody for a fantastic job. I am here to encourage you not to continue with the moratorium. I'm here to encourage you to enforce the local implementations that we already have in place. And not only that, but the other recommendations that were suggested on the past meeting. In these past 2 months, that since we have the moratorium in place, we have a trend. Our homes were selling within the first 7 days that they were listed at a specific price, and they were on a rise. Now the new norm, homes are staying over 30-day plus on the market. Not only that, prices are starting to drop. And when my clients are asking me, is Yucca Valley a good place to invest? I don't know what to answer. I honestly don't know, and I cannot tell them, yes, buy in Yucca Valley because it's a great place that you could possibly continue investing to grow. My clients are now going to 29 Palms, Joshua Tree, Palm Springs, anything else besides Yucca Valley, because they don't like the unknown. They are scared of what it is to become. I also would like to encourage the City Council to explore other possibilities. I hear from the locals that we don't have enough housing. That is true. What are we doing to encourage builders to come and build housing, affordable housing for the regular folks? I don't see any new projects. And I would like to encourage you to find ways to encourage new construction, affordable new construction for the community. We also have the new construction, the luxury new construction. Now we do have luxury new construction in Yucca Valley and through Joshua Tree. They're selling over $1 million plus. I got here in 2014. I don't think we ever saw a property sold in Yucca Valley over $1 million. Now we do have multiple. That trend needs to continue for us to have a healthy growth. But those properties that are being built are built for a purpose. Luxury construction for Airbnb. Those properties that there is a massive investment done through new construction and builders that we have here, there are people from our own community, people that are working from our own community. We cannot stop that investment that already is in place. So there again, I encourage you not to continue to the moratorium and find other ways for you to implement what is already being proposed before and enforce the code. Thank you so much, and I wish you happy holidays.
Thank you.
So Anita, and then followed by Thomas DeVos.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members, and congratulations on the new positions. My name's Anita Pecky. I'm a High Desert local. I also work for Desert Beacon, which is a short-term property management company that serves property owners here in the Morongo Basin from 29 Palms all the way to Morongo. I'm also a member of the Morongo Basin Vacation Rental Organization. I am here today to ask the council not to consider extending the moratorium. We would like you to really look at the density rule. We do encourage enforcement. Few bad owners shouldn't, it shouldn't affect all of us. We would also like the council to look at possibly implementing an ad hoc committee, which would be formulated with different members from locals as well as real estate agents and, city staff. We're looking for a healthy economy. We'd like to see the community to continue to grow, and in creating more jobs, healthy and sustainable jobs, well-paid jobs, which is something that was hard to find for a very long time here in Yucca Valley. So we ask that you please, everyone, shop local, spend local, and support local. I thank you for your time and your leadership, and thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thomas DeVos.
Hi there. Thank you very much. My name is Thomas DeVos. I'm an architect and a realtor and property owner out here for the last 10 years. I want to just reiterate what I think Monica and Madeline and everybody else already said very well. The implications of allowing this moratorium to continue are really quite dire. It affects people's property values by hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have a property I want to sell that if this goes through, it shaves the price off hundreds of thousands of dollars, most likely. I also bought a property recently at a price that was put there because of its ability to rent, and now it's because it is 300 feet from somebody else, that would be in jeopardy. It seems like if you have a neighbor that is within 300 feet that is an Airbnb or a short-term vacation rental, you should be able to, not you shouldn't be able to. Why should they be able to do something that I can't do with my property? Anyway, I've taken an informal poll of my friends that are construction people and contractors, drywallers, everything. They're as busy as they've ever been. They don't want this economy to stop. So basically, I'm here to ask the same thing that everybody else has been asking for, to not continue the moratorium and to just enforce the rules that are there and not let a few bad apples destroy the economic growth. Thank you.
Shoshana Douglas.
Hi, good evening. My name is Shoshana Douglas, and I'm originally from Hawaii. My husband and I were stuck in the crossfire of buying a home. When the moratorium kicked in, we were already past inspection and in escrow, so it was too late to back out. We would have lost a lot of money on our earnest money deposit. We decided to buy a home here in Yucca Valley, single-family home, because LA is really expensive, as well as Hawaii. So we wanted to be able to bring this home to make it beautiful, as well as help the residents, being able to hire local people for working, as well as to being able to bring life to have our friends and family enjoy as a vacation. We want to be able to respect everybody. We want to be able to help build the community. At home, my family and I run a nonprofit for affordable housing. So there's definitely, I communicate quite a bit with the residents here about the housing issue, and I know they recommend just do a long-term rental. Long-term rentals are a little hard just because of the rates of inflation and rents that people are asking for. And it breaks my heart to see it happen to this community. And the short-term rental community, who are the good actors, want to help. So we please beg you to not extend the moratorium or to be able to give us an amendment, because we want to help. And we want to be able to pursue our journey as entrepreneurs. I apologize for getting emotional, but a lot of us have put a lot of hard work into this, and we care for the community. We don't want to upset people. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ryan Miller.
Hello. I'd like to just bring to light some of the numbers I've analyzed about the community. And the lack of housing may be due to the fact that, say, from 2000 to 2009, 21% of the housing supply was produced. And from 2009 to 2013, 0% statistically was registered. And 0.9% has been built from 2014 to newer. This is behind the national average. And it's obviously a contributing factor. And, vacant housing, 1.6% of the vacant housing is for rent currently. 1.2% is currently for sale. 1.1 is currently sold and vacant, and about 6.1% is vacant second homes. Our median income is about in line with the national average of 275, or median cost of housing is 275 compared to 291,000 in America on average. I mean, I'm looking at these statistics, and I don't know how you guys can validate and put all the blame of all the inflationary pressures and all the variables in the American housing market on one singular short-term vacation rentals. Why is Desert Hot Springs gone through the roof in rent? You know, why is all these extremity areas going through the roof in rent? Well, the Federal Reserve has added 1/3 money supply in the last 2 years. We've gone to $60 trillion available money supply to $80 trillion available money supply. We have cheap capital, what's below the cost of inflation on interest rates. So we need to talk to the Federal Reserve and why they're devaluing our currency, our savings, and increasing the cost of living for those who are unable or unwilling to buy a home. And anybody who contend to say they can't afford a home, well, you know, I'll give you $20 an hour to dig holes. I need plants dug. I can't find people to work. So, you know, and even at $12 an hour, that person's walking out of their job with $100. They save $20 a day, that's $7,300 a year, $21,900 after 3 years. They can put 5% down on a nice house around here. All they need to do is not rip anybody off when they borrow money, have a decent credit score, and have a job for 6 months or be self-employed. Now, these are pretty simple parameters. I think they're doable. I think the issue with a lot of people isn't their income, it's their outcome. And I'm concerned about this area because we don't have landscaping along the road. Even though you go down Palm Springs, they have about the same, similar population. Every road is immaculate. They have sidewalks in their downtown. Their schools are rated over 6. I'm concerned about putting my kids to school here. And generally speaking, I've noticed an uptick in, you know, in economic activity. The traffic is up, and this is an endemic of increased economic activity. Let's not demonize one segment of the population. Airbnbs represent about 4% of the housing supply, and over 10% of it's vacant. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Clint Stoker.
Hello, Clint Stoker. I live in Yucca Valley. Been here forever. I know it wasn't the intention of the council when we enacted this moratorium to have it scare people or cause realtors' deals to fall apart or people in the loan industry to lose deals that they had on the table. I know that wasn't our intention. Our intention was to go after bad actors and to send a message to those people that they needed to shape up their operations. But you know, what happened was an unintended consequence, I think. I know based on the actions of last meeting that we are moving towards a resolution to this in a way that's going to benefit the community in the long run. As a contractor here locally, you know, we don't have any issue finding work right now. There's a ton. We have way too much work, not enough manpower. You know, but this did cause a lot of people that have been on the phone with me to call me scared. And these aren't necessarily even people that wanted to short-term rent their house. One couple that really came to mind bought a house for them to live in, and they invested a lot, and we have a contract to do more for them as their primary residence. But now they're worried as to whether this softening of the market that kind of immediately hit us is going to continue. And if it does continue, then their property value is going to drop, and maybe they aren't making a sound investment in their own future. So I don't think the intended consequence was to affect everyone in town. But when we have a community and an economy so based on our visitor population, and right now is being propped up by our real estate values, it was an unintended consequence to really affect a lot of people that we really weren't pushing to shoot for. So I know we're on a path to get this thing finished, and I would hope that we can do that without the need to extend this any further. So I appreciate your time, and congratulations on your new position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Hansen.
Hi there, it's an honor to be here. I'm a resident of Yucca Valley. I purchased a home with my husband in 2016 after a 30-year hiatus from Yucca Valley. I had spent my junior high here in the mid-'80s and went to school with a number of the people in this town who are now either agents or construction workers or neighbors or friends, business owners, and fellow homeowners. I brought my husband up here over a holiday weekend in the spring to show him where I rode my dirt bike and had some of the best years of my life as a 13-year-old young lady. Within 6 weeks, we were in escrow on our home. We have spent the last almost 5 years. On March the 17th, our permit will have been open on our property for 5 years. I'm wondering if I have the longest open permit in the city. But nevertheless, we have restored what was an original owner-built home in Western Hills Estates to magnificent glory on the inside, and we're continuing our work on the outside and have made this our permanent residence. We couldn't be happier. My 16-year-old daughter is remoting in from school in Orange County, which is where we relocated from, and we're making this our permanent residence with joy. We're thrilled with the community that this neighborhood and Yucca Valley offers, and we want to continue to propagate the welcoming community atmosphere by opening the little adjoining casitas that we've built to people that are coming here, and open doors of hospitality and share with people the wonderful environment and peace that Yucca Valley can offer to those who have never been here before. I understand that there are many people who are long-term residents, maybe don't appreciate the detoxification that this type of atmosphere and landscape can offer to those that are visiting, but I certainly do. Coming out on weekends, I felt like I'd been on vacation for 10 days. That being said, my family and I have invested nearly $250,000 into our property, and we're middle-class people. I was so excited to know that this permitted addition was nearly finished, and have been very much looking forward to the opportunity to open the doors as a short-term vacation rental. The moratorium obviously stalled that dream, and it is my request that you consider a halt to that moratorium, and I look forward to continuing to grow this community with hospitality, a welcoming spirit, and offering value to my neighbors and the property as a whole. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
So I have no further cards or requests to speak on this. However, I did have somebody submit a comment that did not want to be on camera. She felt, this is from Jackie Balch, who's a Yucca Valley resident, that further input is needed from residents affected by short-term vacation rentals, and she spoke in favor of extending the moratorium.
Okay, and do we have any online?
Yes, we have 5 people requesting public comment online. We're going to start with Margaret Strachan, followed by Allison Farquhar. Margaret Strachan, I have requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I support holding a public hearing extending the short-term vacation rental permit moratorium. There are too many long-term residents' legitimate concerns not yet addressed, and it takes time to work together as a community on a fair resolution. Entrepreneurs take chances, and a permit is a privilege, not a right. And I believe that the market is softening everywhere. It cannot be blamed on a moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Allison Farquhar, followed by Ashley Negla. Allison Farquhar, you've been requested to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Allison, and I am a homeowner in Yucca Valley and also operate a short-term rental out of that home. I have just 2 quick comments. One is on the previous meeting, it was mentioned that the permit process would move to an administrative function. And that was in the spirit of more education and information for STR owners. And that's something that I very much encourage. I was able to get a permit earlier this summer before the moratorium. And I went in person, and I felt very much like that was a transactional experience. I would have loved to get more information and education. I definitely want to do the right thing, as many other short-term rental owners do. I feel like I'm an extension of the community, so I would love that reciprocated. My second comment is in regards to the data and the survey that was presented in the last meeting in order to justify some of those regulations. A lot of the data suggested that there were some negative aspects of tourism and STRs, and I don't think anyone would argue against that. My question is if we are looking at some of these steps in the right way, and will that really address some of the negative issues and sentiment that we see in the community? I went through the survey, I'm a data person, and looked at and saw that there was one specific data point that showed that 43% of respondents said that enforcement of STRs was an issue. I know so many others have mentioned enforcement as an issue, but I would really love us to really think through that and figure out if some of these steps are going to solve for some of those perceptions. The data point that I would love to see, and this was mentioned by the first speaker, is an understanding of all of the noise complaints. We know that noise is the #1 issue that was stated in the survey. I would love to know the total amount of noise complaints broken down by permitted STRs versus non-permitted STRs. I think this will give us a good starting point, at least to understanding if this is an enforcement issue or if further regulation on permits is the right step forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ashley Neglia, followed by Ronnie Sivim. Ashley, I've requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. My name is Ashley Neglia. I know it's getting late, and I'm grateful for your consideration and time. I'm speaking as a proud first-time homeowner and a New Yucca Valley resident who purchased a single-family home with my husband in September and have been working to improve the property since then. I did email a few of these comments to the Town Council and the Planning Commission, so please forgive me for being repetitive. I just wanted to read a portion of my note here for public record. Of personal concern to me and the new homeowners who are in similar situations, some of whom you've heard speak today, many of whom spoke during the 1123 meeting, are the impending financial hardships on new homeowners in Yucca Valley, particularly during the holiday season. Many folks, my family included, have put our life savings into our newly acquired homes and will have a huge financial hardship if we're not allowed to supplement our income through short-term rental revenue. We're everyday working people, many of whom do not have the funds to wait until April, and we really don't want to default on our mortgages, have our homes fall into disrepair, or, God forbid, have them become vacant, which is obviously going to negatively impact the neighborhoods we are trying to protect and the town of Yucca Valley at large. So rather than restricting good, responsible owners who have gone or will go through the proper channels for permitting and follow existing regulations, the focus should be on the following actions, which will immediately alleviate many of the existing density issues, and some of which, we already discussed. So shutting down the illegal STRs currently operating in the town, revoking operation permits from properties that have repeat unaddressed violations. So in effect, enforcing the current, codes that we have in place versus, again, restricting new folks who are going to go through the proper channels. So on behalf of myself, my husband, and many other new homeowners in Yucca Valley, I urge you not to extend the moratorium. Thank you and happy holidays.
Next, we have Ronnie Sivin, followed by Jeff Poland. Ronnie, I've requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I unmuted. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get connected. I unmuted.
We can hear you, Ronnie.
Okay, can you hear? I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Hello?
can. We hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I had a little trouble. I had a little trouble with my phone. I'm a long-term homeowner, long-term, about a little over 4 years. I do believe in the linear distance rule. It's very important to us. I don't own a short-term vacation rental, and short-term vacation rentals are a business. And I moved to a residential area when I moved out here, and it became a commercial district. I'm almost fully surrounded by short-term vacation rentals, and I'm losing my sense of community, and I worry about our schools. And all the problems with short-term vacation rentals are not being taken care of. I don't necessarily believe in extending the moratorium. I understand everybody's gripe with that and on all the hardship stories. I believe in grandfathering in those that have asked for permits prior to the moratorium, but I also highly believe in the linear distance rule and the density percentage, because that really affects my community. I'm almost surrounded by vacation rentals now, and I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
There has to be a limit.
Next, we have Jeff Poland, followed by Aaron Kaiser. Jeff, I have requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm Jeff Poland. I'm the broker owner of Coldwell Banker Roadrunner Realty. I'm also the president-elect of the Joshua Tree Gateway Association of Realtors. I'm not currently a resident, but I was born and raised here, and I do own property in the valley. I'm against extending the moratorium. I think there's an argument on both sides, but to be for or against short-term rentals, but I think you can't turn it off. You can't just stop accepting permits. You guys can walk and chew gum at the same time. Just implement the current rules that you have. Use the money to hire a third party or hire more staff to enforce it for the complaints. I'm against the linear distancing rule. I don't think it's ever been done in California. That would open you up to a huge lawsuit. And I really think that the law of supply and demand is going to level this out. I've already seen, if you go on AirDNA, the number of bookings and the price of bookings has already gone down. So this is actually the Airbnb phenomenon is a good thing for the area. There's been a lot of gentrification. I've seen former meth labs that are now fixed up, or architectural buildings that people are doing, and it's a lot better than a different direction we could go if we didn't have this tourism aspect happening right now. So I don't think we should stop it, and we should not extend the moratorium. Thank you.
Next, we have Aaron Kaiser, followed by Virginia Grandi. Aaron, I request you to unmute. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kaiser. Thank you for the opportunity to let me speak. I'm a new homeowner, first-time homeowner in Yucca Valley as of April 2021, operating a fully permitted STVR. And I have one issue to raise based on the town council's meeting a few weeks ago that I thought was important that people understand the functionality of how it works. The issue in question is if a homeowner or owner's representative should be required to greet guests at an STVR upon arrival. And for two key reasons, I recommend the town does not adopt this measure. The first one is COVID-19. Before the pandemic, but now all the more so, guests, hosts, cleaners, owners, even the Airbnb and Vrbo platforms all prefer a contactless check-in. It's safer during COVID-19 and is actually even an amenity that hosts on Airbnb can offer, and guests often select as a preference for their stay. Some hosts even specifically offer the guarantee that there's been additional time after the house was cleaned that no one was inside so that it can air out for an extra day or two for guests who are extra careful about COVID, and guests can request this specifically. The second thing is that it's impractical to have someone greet every guest because of the nature of the guest's variable arrival times. Most Airbnbs allow check-ins anytime after 3 or 4 p.m., and guests enjoy the ability to arrive at their convenience. As most short-term rental guests in Yucca Valley are driving in from out of town, their arrival times are unpredictable, and it's impractical to have someone at the residence available to greet guests who may show up anytime before maybe 4 p.m. or 9 p.m. because they hit traffic or simply left a few hours after they anticipated. Even if asking a guest when they will arrive, there's still a window of a few hours. And it's a major inconvenience to require a greeter since guests don't show up exactly when they plan to and traffic happens. It feels an unnecessary strain on those who would be required to greet the guests. It has real potential to interrupt key family time hours that people have for picking up kids from school or making dinner, putting kids to bed if they're on call essentially for this long period of time. If an emergency occurs, someone can still be available to go, as that won't happen as frequently. But for a standard check-in, when typically the cleaner may have finished cleaning hours or even days before their arrival, it's impractical to have someone available for this whole window. I only have one house, but some operators who have a few can't really be in more than one place at the same time if they have multiple check-ins on the same day, or people who have jobs can't really be available every time someone is checking in around 4 p.m. I'd also just like to suggest that on my rental, I have a Ring doorbell that has video and a smart keypad lock on the front door. And so I can see when guests arrive on my phone on an app, and I can see when they check in and enter through the door. I'm able to see how many guests there are and confirm they've gained access to the house safely without needing to be present. And at this point, I'll welcome the guests with a message to greet them virtually. I sincerely hope you consider these points when considering ideas for the new regulations. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Aaron.
Next, we have Virginia Grandi. Virginia, I've requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I am Virginia Grandi. I'm a Yucca Valley native. I'm speaking here in favor of the moratorium. I am a short-term rental operator near Black Rock Canyon. I feel like the direction the town is going is to ensure the investors and speculators get their payday at the expense of the community. I do believe the community is oversaturated with short-term rentals. I want to speak on behalf of the historic communities I grew up with. People who are now priced out, they're not able to buy a home in Yucca Valley. It's important to remember the vulnerable people on fixed income, seniors, and people who traditionally could find a great life. They've been cast to the side by the town council. We have to remember everyone in this equation, and also the people like me who own a short-term rental. We don't vote in Yucca Valley. So I'm very curious to see what the voters of Yucca Valley decide, because they're the ones who are going to influence the direction, not necessarily the investors who don't vote there. So I hope there's a balance, but let's not forget our historic communities, and let's look at this issue and study this a little further and decide how we're going to mitigate the factors. And some people may feel like gentrification is a good thing. When it comes to meth labs, it could be, but there's also a balance where it's a bad thing. And I'm concerned about the impact on the community. Thank you.
That is all I have.
That's it? Okay, any further comment from the public in the room? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council. Just would like to remind everybody that the issue that's being discussed this evening and the matter for consideration is whether or not to extend the moratorium. There's a lot of ancillary issues that will be showing up and subject to further review and further study as we go along. But the issue tonight is just to consider extending or not extending the moratorium. So with that, I'll ask for
Mayor, just to clarify, the consideration for the council this evening is it's a little bit technical, but the consideration is whether or not to schedule a public hearing for the purposes of discussing whether to extend the moratorium.
Okay, well, I'm new at
But
this.
you're not discussing the moratorium per se tonight, rather the desire of the council or lack of desire of the council to schedule a publicly noticed hearing for that purpose.
And if we schedule that public hearing, then that would be the point that I've jumped ahead to. But by not scheduling it.
By not scheduling the public hearing this evening, then the town will not be able to extend the moratorium.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
And just one further point of clarification, just by not scheduling a public hearing, the existing moratorium will expire on its own. It's for 45 days, and it has a limit. So if you do not schedule a public hearing at a future council meeting, the existing moratorium just expires with no further action needed.
And that would expire on or after December 17th?
Correct.
Okay. All right, bring it back to the council. Any council member comments? Who wants to go? Rick?
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight and voicing your thoughts and ideas and concerns, again, online and here in the community center. I took notes on everyone that spoke. It's very important to me. I have quite a long laundry list over the last few meetings and meetings that I've watched online. So to start with, I think this was needed. Sometimes you have to catch your breath and get a hold of how things are being managed, and that's how I looked at this from the beginning. Been looking at it for quite a while, so it was important. The thing that was brought up quite a few times was about the budget and the funding and the capital that's being made or lost. That really isn't my driving force. My driving force was the disruption of our community. That's the driving force. I think most of the people that are here came here because they love this town. They like the atmosphere, and that's what draws them here also. It's not just the park, it's just our community. I got trapped here a long time ago. I love Yucca Valley, I really do. And so when things happen and there's disruption and our neighbors are concerned, I think we all listen to them. And that's important, we should. That's what makes the community. If we all build silos everywhere, yeah, we're just like everywhere else. So it really wasn't the money that was driving me. It was our sense of well-being in our community. We've heard a lot about the disruption of things that people really brought forward to us. When you hear the same story over and over and over again, we did our community outreach. We saw the facts and the numbers. Some people even mentioned that. That's important. We hear it. And so we've built a lot of tools and have a lot of things right now that we've put a lot of energy in. Staff has been working diligently for quite a while. We've got a good example. I think the moratorium is a great tool to use. It got everybody here. Everyone got so wrapped up in the things that were happening in our community with short-term vacation rentals. Everybody stopped, caught their breath, and voiced their opinions. So thank you for that. I think what we have put together so far with the build-out from the public hearings, the planning commission, And the things that they've brought forward and the tools that we have in the pipeline right now are going to be excellent to control this. There's a lot of things that have been talked about that I like, a lot of things that I don't like. I don't think they're sustainable. I don't think there's a way to really manage it. And a lot of you have brought those things up too and kind of confirmed the discussion. So as I talked about earlier, at this time I would just look at declining a schedule of a public hearing in the near future.
Councilmember Lombardo.
I think the pause that we had of the 45-day moratorium did the function that I intended it to do, which was to give us a chance to take a break and look at what we had going, and the Planning Commission had a chance to go over those things. Public had a chance to speak, and we got a lot of good input, and I think we're on the right track. I think there's a lot of progress being made in that, and I don't think that the moratorium needs to be continued. And by having one person voting not to continue it, it's not possible to have the moratorium continue because it requires a 4-person unanimous vote, which we would have to bring another person in to do. So I am not in favor of it extending it either, or even having a noticed meeting to discuss it, I guess, is how that goes, right? Okay, it's a little weird, but I think that we're on the right track, and I think the process is working, and I think people have had a chance to express their views, which I really, really appreciate. That's something I've always loved about Yucca Valley. It's a small enough community where you can make an impact on your community. You need to participate. And I think we've got a lot of people participating here tonight, and a lot of people online. The Planning Commission had a really long meeting and heard a lot from the public at that time. I think we're on the right track, and I do not want to have a meeting to evaluate whether we need a public to extend the moratorium.
Okay, thank you. I concur with my fellow council members regarding the moratorium. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Planning Commission. This 45 days has not been wasted. It's been pretty intense staff work and pretty intense Planning Commission work. And so many people showed up to that Planning Commission hearing online and in person. And I was one of those that sat through all 6 hours of it and listened to all the testimony. And I was impressed by the amount of interest and investment in the community. I think, yeah, the community changes, but it changes. And what we're seeing is a lot of interest and investment that I think we don't want to further stall in any way. So all good points have been brought up, all of the comments. But I think I would not be in favor of extending the moratorium any further. So with that, do we need a motion, or is that just?
Give staff direction. How's that work?
If you want to use this as the potential recommendation based on the council's comments this evening, would be to direct staff to decline to schedule a public hearing for the purpose of evaluating whether to extend the moratorium.
Well, then we'll make that motion. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
You were first?
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Abel? I'm sorry. Councilmember Dennison?
Yes.
Droz? Nope, sorry. Lombardo?
Yes.
And Mayor Schooler?
Yes. Well, thank you again to everybody for all the input. And I guess after the 17th, we're open for business. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is future agenda items. Any council members have any future agenda items they would like put on the agenda? Oh, I'm sorry. We should welcome back the other council members that
Persona non grata.
they were in the hall. I thought they were home.
I did too.
Yeah, they went to the Bahamas.
I'll ask that question again. Any council members have any future agenda items? One that comes to mind, and I just need a reminder from staff, we were going to get a presentation from Joshua Tree National Park regarding just current status and Black Rock Canyon Campground.
We had them on your agenda last year in, I believe, February or March, and our time frame with the superintendent looks like it may be about the same. So should be February of 2022.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we move on to public comments. This is the time that the town council takes to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the printed agenda. When you are called to speak, please state your name and community of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in forfeiture of your public comment privileges. The town council is prohibited by state law from taking any action or discussion on items not on the printed agenda. Any public comments on items not on the printed agenda?
Mayor Schooler, I have a request to speak from Jennifer Batten, but I'm not sure if she's still here.
I believe Ms. Batten left this evening. She gave comments to staff and then left today, so I don't think she'll be here.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments? Items not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will move along to staff reports and comments.
Captain, you have anything for us this evening?
Thank you, sir. Just real quick, congratulations to former Mayor Abel and congratulations to Mayor Schooler. Appreciate everything you did for us during the year. And then just on a quick public safety note, I know Lieutenant Walker probably already addressed you in my absence last council meeting, but shopping season is upon us. So just encourage everyone to be mindful of leaving purchased gifts in their cars. Lock your doors, watch your neighbors, and check your mail frequently. We often see a spike in mail theft this time of the year, so I encourage everyone to check their mail each and every day. Take that stuff out of the boxes so that you're not victimized. And then with that, just happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Chief, you have anything for us this evening? No, sir, no report. Okay, thank you. Shane? Sue, why don't you give a quick recap of your busy weekend that you had?
Yes, Mayor and Council, we had the holiday celebration this last Saturday, which includes the craft fair, the snow play day, Santa visits as well, and it was just a blowout, absolute blowout. It was a lot of fun. We had folks register for the free wristband for the snow play. We registered 1,441 people for the wristbands. So that doesn't even include the craft fair shoppers, which, you know, you're talking about another couple hundred there that were, and I interviewed the vendors afterwards, and they had sold out of much of their merchandise. They were ecstatic. They had so many shoppers, and everyone was so excited to do their holiday shopping. And with Santa visits, we had 350 appointment cards for the 5-hour event. We ran out of those. So we did another 100, so we had 450 people take their picture with Santa, or 450 parties. So it was a very full day. The youth commissioners gave away 2,000 cookies. It was really, really great, just a super time. So a really, really fun event. You could tell people want to get out and have fun, and they were so happy to get out, and everyone had a ball, and it was just very, very successful. So we're pleased that we're able to bring that to the community and had fun with the Youth Commission, and just a really super day. It was very, very rewarding.
Thank you, Sue. Just prior to that event, as the council participated in, we had our Christmas tree lighting. I think everybody has seen that now in town, so thank you for the council's support on that. It's been super well received by the community. Mayor Abel, just a thank you from staff on working with you over the past year. It was a pleasure, and we thank you for the support. And Mayor Schooler, we look forward to the same. So we'll keep our comments short this evening.
No other staff comments? Okay, move on to council member reports and comments. Start with council member Abel.
Thank you. I appreciate all the kind words tonight. It was a lot of fun being the mayor again this year, and the tree lighting festivities was just the fantastic topping to the whole year. So thank you for putting that on, and thank you all for being here tonight. Appreciate the hard-working staff. Happy holidays, and be safe.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennison.
Thank you, Mayor. And past Mayor Abel, thank you very much for your work over the year. You're always great to watch and facilitate the meetings. Somehow you always slip a little bit of funny in there on very serious subjects sometimes, and it's very welcomed. Always approachable. So thank you for all the work you've done over the last year. I want to just say, once again, to follow up what the captain said, public safety is out there this time of year. Our town, we know, during the holidays is going to get very crowded. Please be patient. Please understand people are shopping, they're rushed, you're rushed, traffic's rushed, everything's rushed in this community. It's a good opportunity just to look at it and just think how fortunate you are to be here, and that maybe we should have left 10 minutes earlier. So just be nice out there. I think it makes for a wonderful holiday. And the Youth Commission, that was one of the things I always love seeing every time this year. We're really looking forward to them. We've talked about it with the skate park. Their youthful exuberance that they bring into here and some of the ideas that they bring forward that someone old like me doesn't really see, I think it's fantastic. And when I see kids like that stepping up for the first or second or third year or longer, I think we're in pretty good hands. I really think the future looks bright when I see kids like that. So thank you, Sue, for all your work you do with them. You put them to task. Even during COVID, they all mentioned it. They still enjoyed it. And what was it, the Mario Kart parties that you do? Yeah, big success. And thank you to the public for coming out again. It's been a long journey, but it's been very valuable. Don't disconnect. Please stay connected. Continue to teach others and teach the town of the things that you're looking at. Some of the discussion was on ad hoc, but you know what? We're a lot closer than that. I don't think a committee needs to be formed myself. I think that you can just call one of your council members, you can call town staff, and keep engaged in some of the things that you're concerned about and the direction that this community is going. That's what it's all about. It's just representation. So I wish you all wonderful holidays. For us, it's Christmas, but whatever your faith is or what you do for the holidays, make sure you're with your family and friends or make some new friends. And that's all. Blessings to you all.
And Councilmember Droz.
Yes, I would like to congratulate Mayor Schooler, and I wish you a successful year. We've worked together for a long time. We were on a foundation for a long time together, and I know you're going to do a wonderful job. And Mayor Pro Tem Dennison, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you've been around this before. So you were mayor how long ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. So anyway, Mr. Abel, Councilmember Abel, you did a wonderful job, and I love the Christmas tree lighting. That was great. That was a great turnout. So thank you for all you've done this last year, and for being a good friend also. So thank you. And I guess we'll see everyone at the next council meeting.
And Councilmember Lombardo.
I'll keep it quick, but thank you for your leadership last year, and it's always a pleasure working with you. You bring a great sense of humor, and you're a great role model for leadership skills. Congratulations, Mayor Schooler. We're looking forward to working with you and getting to see what you do with this year. It's always a pleasure. And Mayor Pro Tem Dennison, always you're another great example of leadership and always seem to be on top of everything. You have a lot of fingers in the pie outside of the town as well, so you always bring good information, and you're kind of like our undercover agent, secret agent. You bring back all the information, keep us on top of things. Thank you. thank you to the public for coming out and being involved. It makes the community what it is. And we do try to be responsive to the things that matter to the community. So please stay engaged. We have a great staff that works very hard to keep this place functioning and at the highest level. We've got great recreation. We're sound financially. We have great road crews and facilities management, and I'm just very proud to be part of this group. Have a happy holiday and enjoy the coming year. It'll be a great one.
Okay, well, I have access to an awful lot of coaching for this new job. I've got 5 former mayors up here at the dais with me, counting Sue Ernest, who was mayor. So I have a lot of coaching, I'm sure, at my disposal. So thank you for that. Particularly, thank you for Mayor Abel, former Mayor Abel now, for your leadership and friendship and just the way you handled being mayor in the community with class and dignity and sense of humor. Just great leadership. Thank you. Also want to welcome the Youth Commission, very impressive group. Just listening to them speak is inspiring and just really looking forward to this year with them. The Christmas tree lighting event, I know Sue and staff knocked themselves out over that and were expecting a crowd and got about 3 times the crowd that they expected. It was awesome over there. Thank you for that. It went so well. It was kind of like perfect. It was well done, as well as the Saturday events here and the turnout. Again, you weren't expecting. And that 1,441, was that just kids that got wristbands?
Yes, primarily because the wristbands were only required for the snow play area. So that's not even counting the shoppers and, some of the folks who just got their pictures taken.
Yeah,
Is
enormous turnout for that. And I remember I came by about 10 in the morning, 9:45, and the snow was already melting because we had a sunny and warm day, but I'm glad it held out for that. So all of those events, awesome. Thanks again to the Planning Commission for the hard work and for really moving forward, and to staff for moving forward diligently on this SDVR issue. And I want to invite everybody, those of us that are concerned or able to talk about short-term vacation rentals, please feel free to call Town Hall and figure out how to get in touch with us or make an appointment. We'd be happy to meet with you if you have any other input. So thank you for all those that have taken advantage of that, but we invite everybody else, anytime you have something to talk about, please feel free. So with that, our next regular meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council will be held on Tuesday, December 21st at 6 p.m. in the Yucca Valley Community Center Yucca Room. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting.